What you're about to see is the result of poring through countless hours of data analysis, through extensive background verification, due diligence, exhaustive research with double, triple checking. Our investigative unit here, Mug Club Undercover, was able to connect a high-level executive at one of the world's most powerful entities to a website designed for the explicit purpose of sexually exploiting children.
Holy shit! Yo, man, we got some crazy stuff happening over on Steven Crowder's channel. If you don't know who Steven Crowder is, he is a conservative voice that is very popular on social media, on Rumble. I think that's about all he does, those two. But he also has a website called Mug Club where you can sign up and all this other jazz. But anyway, he dropped like this crazy story yesterday that implicates someone who is very high up in the BlackRock company. So like, stick around because I'm going to talk about this and break it down, and I'm going to show you guys what the bigger implications are at the end of the video. So let's go.
If we don't agree on the following statement, there can never be hope of finding common ground. There are fewer evils greater on earth than the abuse and exploitation of innocent children. I can't think of anything. Can you?
I love that Steven comes out with this as his first thing because he's basically saying, I don't care if you're left or if you're right. There's one thing that we all can agree on, and that is that the children that we care about are what should be protected at all costs, regardless of your political stance, which is a great way for him to appeal to people who don't normally watch him, to be like, listen, this is an important story. I don't care what your political affiliation is. Can we agree on this? And most people, I think, who are rational of mind would agree that exploiting children is probably one of the worst things that a person can do. Now, the reason I found myself kind of more on the right as of lately is because the one thing that I love about conservatives is no matter what the topic is, they come with evidence that supports their argument. They don't just say this stuff. Like, they don't just say it from a place of emotion and a place of anger. They come with proof and they say, this is how we came to this conclusion. Let's walk you backwards from our conclusion and we will show you how we got there. And in an internet age where everybody just shouts to the rooftops and hopes their emotions are what carry them forward, I can't think of a more appropriate way to bring a point across than with freaking facts, man. Bring me the facts, brah. Facts, please. Table of 12. If you're sitting there doubting Steven Crowder's ability to do investigations, let me remind you, this is the guy who got to see the Hunter Biden laptop before anybody else, also somehow secured the manifesto from the Nashville shooting. So suffice to say, Steven Crowder can get things done when it comes to investigations. Plus, the guy's got tons of money, and there's nothing he loves better than sticking it to the libs. Am I right, bah? So if you're wondering what this information is, we're going to go through this piece by piece, okay? I'm going to break down what Steven Crowder talks about, and we're going to lay it out for you, all the evidence that he found during this video. So Steven Crowder starts off the video with a trigger warning. Well, actually, he tells you that it's not a trigger warning because, hey, we ain't no snowflakes, am I right? So he just tells you that what you're going to see is pretty disturbing and that it could haunt you for the rest of your life. But as the video goes on, I don't really think there's any images or anything like that that really disturbs you. I think it's just the idea behind what they talk about that's really the disturbing part. But it's a great way to set up a good hook for your video. So this video circulates around a particular member of BlackRock Investments. Now, if you're not familiar with BlackRock, they are a huge corporation. A lot of people accuse them of being like the Illuminati. So if you look up on Google what they do, it simply says, we're an asset manager of one of the world's leading providers of investment, advisory, and risk management solutions. We're a fiduciary to our clients, and by investing on their behalf, we help millions of hardworking Americans experience financial well-being. So they basically go and they invest for people. Kind of Wolf of Wall Street-y, if you ask me. But BlackRock has also been accused of like buying up all the property that they can in America, making it harder for average people to buy homes. There's a lot of controversy around BlackRock, let's put it that way. So they are a very powerful company, and Steven is on the offense on them. So God bless them, man. That is not a company that I would want to go up against any day. They could squash me like a bug. But hey, you know what? Steven's a lot more powerful than I am, so I hope he can do some good. BlackRock has also been kind of known to be a bit of a woke company, and they really support the Democratic Party, which always makes me wonder, like, if liberals are all about like societal redistribution of wealth, then why do like the most wealthy people always support that? because you know they don't want to lose their money. This whole story originates around a website that, for the sake of not being demonetized on YouTube, I'm going to refer to it as tapey.su. If you rearrange some of the letters there, you could probably figure out what the actual website's called, but I'm not trying to get demonetized. I'm poor. I need the money. And around this website, 4 men were indicted for running it, and a lot of people would use it to upload inappropriate pictures of young people, or they would even try to arrange meetups, which is absolutely disgusting. I don't know what is wrong with these people that they think that this is okay to do. And I know you're probably thinking, like, why don't they just take down the website? Well, they try again and again, but the website just keeps changing the ending of its URL. So it'll go from tapey.co to tapey.su or tapey.ri. So it always keeps changing, which makes it harder for people to find it. So they must be a really tight security community where everybody's like, yo, we're moving and we're doing this. We're going to take all of our whole scumbag crew to a different area of the internet. Like, the amount of predators out there is actually incredibly alarming to me. And it's only recently been dug up with the internet just how bad the problem is. People like Chris Hansen, Skeeter Jean, those guys who are out there like making sure these guys are taken care of. The amount of people they can bring in is absolutely mind-boggling, and it's terrifying as a parent. The leader of this website thankfully was arrested, and it was this guy named Nathan Larson who ran the whole thing. He eventually died in prison, which, you know, good riddance to him, I say. So just so you know, if this doesn't scare the living bejesus out of you as a parent or an uncle or an aunt, then you need to have a wake-up call, because this is very, very real. And it's very, very scary. I believe the children are our future. It's that bad. I mean, the fact that Mama Max can create a whole channel just dedicated to documenting these people is absolutely insane. Now, I know that what he's been documenting isn't exactly the truth, but nonetheless, like, there's plenty of people for him to cover. So somehow Steven's team actually tracks down the person who is the center of this investigation, and her name happens to be Abigail Geller, who is a high-ranking manager within BlackRock. Just for full transparency, I gotta make sure I admit that these are all alleged allegations and that nothing has been proven. Abigail Geller deserves innocence until proven guilty aspect of this all, because that is what makes our country run. Lately, it seems like everything is you're guilty until you can prove you're innocent, which isn't how things should be. So I just want to make sure that I'm clarifying that this is all alleged. Steven's investigative team used web sources of background checks that you can use. I guess they're the ones that you could pay for, and people will give you information on people. So when cross-referencing one email in particular called hero121@mail.com that appeared on the website, it kept coming up with the same name over and over and over again, and that was Abigail Geller's name. Now, I know that this isn't like definite proof, but when you have several different websites cross-checking stuff and one name is constantly coming up assigned to one email, you could see where they ended up coming up with the conclusion that this must be Abigail Geller's email.
IDIcore.com has a single result when typing the email hero121@mail.com into their reverse email search. That one result is an Abigail G. Geller.
And they actually ended up getting the real life number of this Abigail girl. And they actually ended up calling her. Which begs the question, if these websites can get her phone number, why isn't it impossible to think that they can get her emails too associated with her?
We still wanted to provide the opportunity to Abigail to explain herself and address these allegations given their severity, and it very well could have been someone else using her email.
Hi, Abby. It's again. Did you read my text?
No. What?
Can
you tell me? I'm sorry. I'm just in the. What's your name? What?
I'm an investigative journalist, and I have this tip. If this is bogus tip or,
You're a journalist from where?
Mug Club Undercover.
It makes you wonder if she wanted to know who the publication was that was investigating her so that she could get her BlackRock friends to just crush them or just kill the story. But when she says Mug Club Undercover, if anybody is familiar with Steven Crowder, they're going to be like, well, there's nothing we could do about this story then, huh?
What is it?
Mug Club Undercover. I run the tip line, and it's just my job to go through and figure out what's misinformation or bogus tips. I wanted to let you know if there's these claims going out around you. I didn't know if you're aware, if anybody's reached out to you, if it's valid or not. It's not uncommon for, things like the emails to get mixed up. So
It might sound like she's stuttering over her words and she's very nervous, which she might be a little nervous talking to this girl. But what she's trying to do is just try to get Abigail to admit that one of those emails are hers.
What's your last name? I'm sorry. Can I give you a call right back? Is this your direct line?
yeah, it is. Yes, it is. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out if this is a valid tip, or if this is something that, if it's real, or if you're aware of it at all.
I'll call you right back.
Okay.
Can I call you right back?
Yeah, sure.
Spoiler alert, Abigail did not call her right back. Instead, she got a phone call from Abigail's lawyer, who went on to basically say that this email has nothing to do with my client. My client's innocent of any accusations that are being hurled at her. Like, if you were innocent, your initial reaction would be like, no, I'm not familiar with any of those emails. But instead, she goes right to calling her lawyer. And you know who calls lawyers? People who are scared of being exposed. Again, I just want to reiterate, for the sake of transparency, there is no proof yet that these emails are Abigail Geller's, but hopefully if people look into this, they can find out if it really is her or not, because if it is, I don't care how powerful you are, what side of the aisle you're on, if you're going on a website like this, then you deserve to be looked into and you deserve to be held accountable for whatever it is that you were doing on that website. I just want to say, nobody harass anybody who I'm talking about in this video, because until we have proof, these are all just speculations and allegations that aren't quite yet confirmed. It's just, I think the goal of this video is to drum up attention so that anybody who was ever on one of these websites is held accountable. As they should be, because this is disgusting. Shame on you. Anybody, if you watch this and you've ever been on a website like this, please, by all means, go take a long walk off a short bridge in Minecraft. So anyway, the lawyer calls back and he does that lawyer thing where he just straight up just says no and denies every single piece of evidence that they have gathered.
I understand that you've asked certain questions about certain allegations. Those allegations are false.
What I want to know is, how does he know the allegations are false in that short a time? The lawyer calls back almost immediately. So what was Abigail like? Hey, they're accusing me of this email. It's attached to this Tapey website where this and this and this happened, but I'm not involved at all. It just seems suspect. Now, I know his job is to protect her, but it seems like he's got quite a lot of information from just one phone call.
They can be proven false. I'm telling you, you should not publish any such allegations. They are false. They are defamatory.
I was expecting her to call me back. She said she was going to call me back because, I was just trying to give her a heads up. But I mean, it's just kind of alarming for a journalist to get a call. I don't normally get a call from an attorney right away. It's a little weird. Can you see where I'm coming from?
What's wrong? Cat got your tongue?
Well, I mean, not really when you're things like this, which are very, very defamatory and false. So, I'm just representing the client.
So there's been a tip that has associated her with a website.
Yeah. And what is the newsworthy angle of this?
Well, gee, the newsworthy angle of this is that a big manager within BlackRock is engaging in very unethical behavior online. What do you mean, what's the newsworthy angle of this? And this guy's supposed to be a lawyer? Jeez. Basically, the lawyer's stance is that, as can easily be verified online, email addresses supposedly associated with pornography websites are frequently falsely linked to numerous different individuals. Now, I want you guys to ask yourself, do you know many people out there who all share an email? Because I don't. And again, these are all allegations, and none of this has been proven yet, but these are things that we're just asking. These are questions that just need to be asked. And you could sit here and say, oh, another conservative conspiracy theory, but at what point does something stop becoming coincidence and start kind of making you go, wait, it does kind of make sense, doesn't it? Yeah, you might have cross-referenced, 100 different background check websites, and they might have all told you that my email was this one that is accused of doing some really terrible stuff, but I promise you that is just a coincidence. Trust me when I say that. Yeah, so what if it gave you my real number and a bunch of other real information about me and my family? The email part's wrong, and that's all you need to know. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here.
You can't see me.
The lawyer also went on to say, indeed, you are the second news organization to receive this malicious defamatory tip. When presented with Miss Geller's unequivocal denial, the first organization immediately dropped the story. I demand that you and any organizations that you are associated with do the same. Now, this might be where we start getting into the weeds here a bit, because I would love to know who the first organization was that reached out to her for this story, because you know that being a head person at BlackRock, you could probably throw a lot of weight around. And if BlackRock is like an investor, or you're a company that is investing with BlackRock, there's probably a ton of ways to ruin your life. But I think it's funny when he says that he demands that you drop the story. Like, who the hell is this guy? You can't demand someone drop the story. This is America, bro. Also, I would love to know what news publication was like, hey, are you being accused of doing this? Nope. Okay, good enough for us. Bye. What kind of journalism is that? To reiterate, it would grievously misrepresent Miss Geller to associate her with any tapey website or anything similar. Well, that's all I needed to hear. Let's back things up, boys. We got the wrong guy. This comes down to the fact that nobody is above the law, no matter how powerful you are. Even the president of the United States of America has to adhere to the laws that make this country what it is.
I'm saying that when the president does it, that means it's not illegal.
The minute anybody becomes too powerful for any law, then our Constitution will crumble on the legs in which it stands. Now, Crowder's video makes a good point. The lawyer, during his response, never brings up the tapey website. So either he doesn't know about the website and doesn't have a clue about the facts of the case, or he knows of the website, which they didn't need to tell him, and he's just avoiding bringing it up. Either way, something smells funny here. I just want to reiterate, I am not a conspiracy theorist, all right? I am looking at the evidence that was presented and trying to do my best to decide whether or not it's coincidence or if it's truth. To have that many background checks all return that email to one person in particular over and over and over again, when all the other information that they provided was correct as well. All right, we're not looking at a conspiracy theorist. We're looking at what could possibly be true evidence. As a private individual, Miss Geller is entitled to the full protection of New York law, including in particular defamation law. Any statement asserting or implying that she is associated with tape, pornography, or sexual misconduct would cause her and her family immense personal and professional injury and emotional distress. Any such publication, particularly from an anonymous source, would amount to malicious and intentional defamation and constitutes a grossly irresponsible violation of standards of information gathering and dissemination. It will also expose you and any individual or organization involved to liability for compensatory and punitive damages and other relief. Again, just to cover my ass, I am simply reacting to this video. I am not accusing this woman of anything. I'm simply evaluating the evidence, and I'm saying there's a compelling argument here, all right? Abigail Geller could simply be a victim of someone else doing this to her, or this could all just be one giant misunderstanding. But you gotta admit, the evidence that has been laid out here is pretty compelling stuff. With that said, I wanna make sure that you know that you are responsible for your actions, and you should never go out of your way to send malicious things to these people, say mean, hurtful things to these people, when honestly, no true proof has come out yet. So Crowder and his team ended up calling back the lawyer to confront him one more time and to see what he said. And I think he makes some serious good points here. The lawyer, I mean. But so does Crowder's team.
Help me out here. How can you say that's clearly not her email address, though? How do you know that? You just found out what the email address is, right?
You could go register for that email address today on mail.com. It is not her email address.
A lot of these research sites, so that's what's confirming this information, right? And it's coming on a lot of different websites. All we're doing is asking some questions, so you don't even have the information. You're giving me answers to things, and things just aren't lining up right now.
The allegation that my client has anything to do with a child exploitation or D.XU is false and defamatory, and I am advising you in the strongest possible terms not to publish such a thing. You had done basic diligence, sir. What you would know is those websites are inaccurate.
So on one hand, I understand what Crowder's team's saying when they say that you're rebutting everything I'm saying, but you don't know everything that we've found. And the lawyer's responding with, well, these background search websites that you can go look up aren't very accurate, and it even says it in the website. So I decided I wanted to go see just how accurate these websites are. So when I looked up on Google how accurate background check websites are, how reliable are online background checks? And the answer was, while some online background check providers offer accurate, current, and legally compliant reports to their clients, others do not. To choose a trusted online employment background check provider, you need to know what to look for and understand the laws that govern the background check process. So basically, this is just them saying it depends, right? So it depends on which ones they used, and I'm sure that Crowder probably used a reputable background check website, or else he wouldn't come out with a video like this. You could say what you want about Steven Crowder, but he wouldn't want to get owned by coming out with a video like this just to start crap. The guy likes to be right. It's his ego that pushes him to want to be right with these things. And he would never have come out with this video if he didn't really truly feel like he did everything he could to make sure that he was checking his T's and crossing his I's. Yeah, dotting your T's and crossing your I's. That sounds right. So the lawyer and Crowder's team go back and forth saying, we got this information. The lawyer's saying, I don't care what information you have. It's wrong, as lawyers do. But Steven Crowder took it a step further, and his team decided to hire a private investigator to hunt down who was the owner of this email. And also, it turns out that someone registered for the hero121@mail.com email right after they made the call, too. And to no surprise of Crowder's team, the private investigator came back with the same results that they did. The email belongs to an Abigail G. Gessler.
Amazingly, another person suddenly owns this very obscure email immediately following the phone call we had with Bauman.
Now, I don't want to get into the odds of someone else going out and creating hero121@mail.com and what they are. Let's just say it's not common. Okay. When presented with the evidence about all these background check websites pointing to one person, Abigail Geller, after doing the research, her lawyer responded, as you surely know, services such as ScopeNow and Accurate warn users not to rely on any data that is not independently verified. For example, Accurate states the public records and commercially available data sources used on reports have errors. Data is sometimes entered poorly, processed incorrectly, and generally not free from defect. This system should not be relied upon as definitively accurate. Before relying on any data this system supplies, it should be independently verified. In addition, information from websites like tapey.xu that do not verify emails itself is untrustworthy. This is where things get interesting, okay? There was a Project Veritas video that was released where, using the same resources that Louder Crowder's team did, they were able to hunt down someone who admitted to using the website the same exact way that they're hunting down Abigail Geller. I'm gonna let you decide. Is that coincidence, or do you think that she's actually guilty here?
One of the individuals from the website who admitted to using it. Often enough, these verification services are accurate. And given the fact that Bauman ordered them not to publish anything, it's safe to say they met Abigail the same way they met the man from that initial release.
Yeah, I mean, again, you got to ask yourself, at what point is it not coincidence anymore? And is it evidence? That's where we're crossing into the line here. Also in Crowder's video, someone who admittedly used the tapey.cu website said that the website does, in fact, make you verify your email. I guess you got to understand that when you're doing illegal, dumb crap like this, that they got to make sure they're not just letting in anybody, which overturns the lawyer saying that these websites don't verify emails. I mean, this came from someone who admitted to using it. What would they have to lie about? I mean, why would you admit to using such a scummy website and then lie about them verifying the emails? It makes no sense. It's hard to tell if Abigail Geller is a victim of a very unusual circumstance, or if she's hiding something that she doesn't want people to know. Or is she protecting someone who used her email? So many questions are left unanswered. And again, I made this video because I find it very important to make sure we are out here protecting our kids, protecting your future children, because the predator problem has reached epidemic levels. And nobody's gonna stop that unless we bring attention to it. You understand? Not like Mama Max attention, where you just make up stories to sell a narrative. I mean, like real journalistic investigations like this one. And I'm not saying that Abigail Geller is one of these predators, but if she is, she should be held accountable just like any of us would be. And I'll tell you what, if this leads to an arrest of Abigail, people are gonna have to start taking Steven Crowder a lot more seriously. I mean, it's hard to ignore all this evidence. 11 background checks, all yielding the same exact result. All the other information that they gathered was accurate. That's how they were able to call Abigail on her phone. But the email's wrong? It just doesn't add up. And let me speak to the people who are doing this kind of stuff right now. It is not too late to change. It is not too late to put down the disgusting, degenerate behavior that you've been engaging in and try to be a decent person moving forward. Because one day you will be caught, and you'll be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and you will lose any respect you've ever had. You might feel safe in the confined basement where your computer is, but I promise you, being on the internet isn't as private as you think it is. Which brings me to my sponsor, NordVPN. No, I'm kidding. I don't have a sponsor. I mean, I'd love to take a sponsor if you guys want to give me one. But anyway, guys, that's the end of this video. I want you guys to write down in the comments, right? Based on the evidence you saw today, what do you think? Do you think that this woman is behind it? Or do you think that this is just one major misunderstanding and these background check websites are just garbage and they're trying to take her down? One thing's for sure, BlackRock needs to stop buying up all the houses, all right, man? Let a brother buy one. Shit. But with that said, guys, I can't wait to hear from you in the comments. And if you enjoyed this reaction, I invite you to come over to watch me respond to Willie Mack Show and Hassan Piker's absolute ridiculous, and I mean ridiculous debate. I'll see you there.